Well, hey everybody, I'm John Rickland. This is a real honest rant where I'm going to tell you what wrestling you should be watching. Whatever the fuck wrestling you want to watch. You know why? Because I'm a wrestling fan that watches what I want to watch, and you should be able to watch what you want to watch. This whole AEW versus NXT thing, watch whatever the fuck you want to watch. Watch one live, watch one on DVR, watch them both split screen. Watch independent wrestling. Watch deathmatch wrestling. Watch whatever you want to fucking watch. You know why? Because the whole point of being a wrestling fan is you have options. You can watch whatever. Go back to the 60s, 70s, 80s. Some people would travel hundreds of miles to go to live shows. And then once, the 70s, 80s, and that kind of closed circuit stuff, especially in the 80s started, people would drive hundreds of miles to watch closed circuit stuff, but they could watch multiple promotions. Yes, the whole advent of cable TV and a whole bunch of other stuff has made it easier for people to watch. But going back just to the Monday Night Wars, people would tape Raw and watch Nitro live, or, watch Raw live and tape Nitro, and then they would go to school the next day. That's what I would do. I would do that a lot, and I would be caught up on all the wrestling. I'd always talk to my friends, especially, those that watched it, and some people watched one, some people watched the other, some people watched both. There were also some people that watched all three because ECW, even though it was in syndication until it got on TNT sometime in 1999, there were tons of options for people to watch. And now take a look at what's been happening since then. I'm putting up this TNA t-shirt for a reason. I watched Impact for a number of years. I don't watch current Impact as much anymore, and that's by choice. I simply don't really have the time. I cover enough wrestling as it is, and it doesn't interest me as much. Some of the stuff I've seen has been very impressive. Tessa Blanchard got me to care about a Sami Callihan match, which is hard to do, because I'm not personally a fan of Sami Callihan, though I know that some people to watch are. And that's totally fine, because we all have different opinions. What's great about watching, even like back then after WCW and ECW closed down. Yes, WWE was the only, game in town. And then Impact started up. And yeah, they did their weekly pay-per-view stuff and everything. And I'm going to go over some history and I'm going to give some points here. Do not worry. I have points about this stuff. I swear I do. It's not just going to be me rambling, even though that's pretty much all my channel is. But Impact was doing that, and then they would grow their fan base and stuff like that. And they would do, they started doing their weekly, they were doing their weekly thing, and then they got to where they were on, Fox Sports Net. And then they did their, they started doing their monthly 3-hour pay-per-views and would grow and stuff like that. And during that time, other promotions would pop up, like indie promotions. The indie scene has really started to grow in the past number of years. Look at what New Japan did. After it pretty much fell on its ass in the mid-2000s, they got guys like Tanahashi and others, and Tanahashi was the ace that they built around everything, and now look at what New Japan is. It's all about patience, perseverance, and enjoying whatever wrestling you like. There are some people that only like the WWE style, and that's great. There are some that like Impact, that have stuck with Impact through thick and thin. There are some that wish Impact complete death just because they've fallen on their ass for a while, even though they've rose back up this year in particular. Even with some stumbling blocks, they still have been able to put on some pretty good shows that a lot of people try to plug, but not a lot of people have been watching. I'm leading to all this to get to a point. Now, taking a look at what's going to be happening in October, the big news broke that Anthem bought a majority share, I believe, of Access TV. Along with Mark Cuban, and I think even Steve Harvey has helped invest in this. Steve Harvey being invested in something in wrestling. That's a bit weird. If that happens to be true, that's a little bit odd. But the whole point of this is you now are going to have Impact Wrestling on Access TV starting in October, I believe, right after Bound for Glory. So October is going to be a big goddamn month for wrestling. Just taking a look at all this stuff in general. WWE starting in October. Raw's going to be on USA. SmackDown's going to be on Fox. So it's going to be Mondays and Fridays. And I think that's how it's going to stick. Really, I think Fridays for SmackDown would be a better idea. I don't see the point in moving it to like Thursday or even back to Tuesday. I don't really see the point in that. I think it would be the perfect break. You could give the talents more breaks and stuff like that. And also, it would give a bit of a break for the fans. Instead of getting burned out, like after, say, having a takeover and then a pay-per-view and then a Raw and then a SmackDown. 4 straight days of wrestling, no matter how good, how bad, how indifferent it is, gets very exhausting. So WWE can benefit from having that kind of a break. And, also being on competing networks and everything, the brand split will probably mean a whole lot more and it will be a whole lot better. It will be good and, a great boom for wrestling. It will just be great for the talents and everybody involved, hopefully. We'll see what happens. But there's a whole lot of stuff that they're going to be doing, possibly reducing the commentary team down to 2, which is long overdue. We don't need 3-person commentary team. For pay-per-views, sure, I get it. We don't need it for weekly TV. Not NXT, not Raw, not SmackDown. 205 Live, we don't need it for, even though they're getting rid of 205 Live. Apparently, at some point, they're putting the talents in NXT, which is great. And some of this stuff will probably be discussed on a future podcast, but I'm giving the overlay here to say you guys can watch what you want to watch. Because that's the thing that I fucking hate about so many wrestling fans. Oh, you gotta choose this. You gotta choose this. Fuck you guys if you want to say that. I don't like deathmatch wrestling, as I said numerous times. And any of you guys are watching this, I don't like deathmatch wrestling. I think it's goddamn bullshit. I don't think the wrestlers in there are necessarily bullshit. I've met Jimmy Havoc, and he's a deathmatch wrestler, but he actually can work. I like Jimmy Havoc. There are others that do deathmatch wrestling that I like that I may not care for that style, but other people like it, and that's fine. That's great. That appeals to a certain, core audience, and that's okay. Everybody, if people get a different thrill out of different styles of wrestling, that's great. But so WWE on, Raw USA, Fox having SmackDown. NXT is going to be on USA starting next week. Well, actually, for the first 2 weeks, it's going to be the first hour on USA and then second hour on the network because I think USA is doing the Suits finale, which I've never watched that show. I have no idea. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. I don't really care. But NXT, that's going to be very, very interesting. Then you got the whole NXT AEW thing. Apparently USA Network is broadcasting NXT live, but then I think it's going to be available on the network the next day. Or very, very soon after. I'm not totally sure on all the details because you hear certain reports and they could be disputed and this kind of stuff because it's really hard to tell. And that's why, just as a wrestling fan, I just, state my opinions and say, this stuff may be true, may not be. And I just give my opinions on stuff that's actually facts. And just have fun. That's the whole point of YouTube, is to have fun. And be a wrestling fan and have fun. Even as fired up as I get, I try to just have fun. So, NXT on USA. I think it could be good. I think it will work out well. It will depend on, if they can work out the finer details, like having more time for the women, more time for, build their tag team division, this kind of stuff. They're going to incorporate the 205 Live guys in there. Please, for the love of God, form a couple tag teams and then make the, Cruiserweight title a mid-card title that maybe they defend between NXT and NXT UK, as there are some UK talents that fit under the 205 Live banner. They could actually work well, and you could do that. Maybe you could combine NXT and NXT UK at some point because the NXT UK brand is having its own issues. It is a network exclusive, but hopefully they can cross-promote with those more often, even though one's going to be live and one's going to be live and one's going to be taped like way in advance. Fucking hell, I think like a lot of the UK tapings were done like back in June and they didn't have the takeover until like August. But anyway, the whole point is you got NXT on USA and then you got AEW on TNT. Now I got my own opinions about some of the AEW roster I don't necessarily care for, and it's a very small amount. Is really I want to give just about everybody a chance. There are certain ones I just simply don't care for, and I'm going to stand by that until my mind has changed, and I doubt it will be. But just looking exclusively at the product. AEW, NXT. Okay, one, wrestling being back on turn is a big goddamn deal. After the Monday Night Wars and after all that shit, it's a big goddamn deal. It really is. And I don't think people understand just how big of a deal this is. As somebody that lived through the Monday Night Wars, I never thought I'd see wrestling back on Turner networks. Even though Turner's pretty much phased out the whole thing, it's still, the Turner aura about it. It's just the fact that after WCW went off the air, I never thought that we'd see wrestling back on there. And it's really, really great because TNT was seen as the bigger network. Even though TBS had been around longer, TNT was in more homes. Or like was somehow the bigger brand or whatever. The whole point is seeing that back on there is a big deal. Now, it'll be interesting to see if AEW can keep up this momentum from their pay-per-views. Especially with how All Out, did pretty well, and there were some things I didn't necessarily care for, but when you're just trying to build an audience, build up an audience like just based solely on big shows before your TV, that's a bit hard to do. So it's going to be quite interesting to see, and I want to know in the comments which one you guys are going to watch, or if you're going to watch both, which one you plan to watch live, which one you plan to DVR, do you plan to split screen? I would love to know what you have to say, or split screen, as opposed to whatever fucking word I said. But I want to know from you guys which ones you guys are going to watch. So that's some big stuff. That's a big goddamn deal. And then you got, and then you got Access TV that's going to have a pretty solid amount of wrestling on it. They've had New Japan for a while. Yes, it's New Japan on delay because New Japan World has their live stuff unless they, pimp themselves out to Fight TV. And I like Fight TV, don't get me wrong, but that whole thing of like how Royal Quest, that stream was royally fucked up, and it probably had more to do with the venue and with the people they were partnering with than anything else. But that being said, New Japan World has, they obviously have access to their whole damn thing. After seeing what happened with New Japan in the mid-2000s and seeing them build back up with Tanahashi and so many others, and the rise of Okada and so many, American wrestlers that they got in and people that they got in and doing a whole bunch of great stuff with a lot of their talents that they've, brought in, American talents, British talents, and people like that they brought in. They've really built a good fan base. Now, I admit that New Japan style is not for everybody. There are times that I can see, okay, yeah, this show wasn't all that great, or this show was pretty good. But what I like about New Japan, I'm just going to go really, really quickly through this. What I like about New Japan is that they take breaks. After the G1 Climax, they didn't do a show for a while. They'll do co-branding with CMLL. I don't necessarily watch those shows just because I don't have time. I only have so much time in the day. And that's kind of why I'm doing this show, to give you an idea that if you can't watch everything, you can pick and choose what you want to watch, but you don't have to just pick and choose because other fans tell you. Choose something or choose multiple things to watch and enjoy them without exhausting yourself. Because that's a big thing. Exhausting yourself is something that I've been guilty of. Because I try to review everything as much as I possibly can. Back to New Japan. I can't always watch their Road 2 shows and that kind of stuff. I've had to cut back on some of the content that I review. A, because view counts aren't always there. But also B, just to keep my own sanity. New Japan takes breaks between their tours and stuff like that. Their Best Super Juniors tour, they did that, and once that ended, once Dominion ended, then they had the Kazuna Road tour that was up for a couple weeks and stuff like that. But that was a week or so after they started that. And then they did G1 special, and then they did the G1 Climax tournament, and then after that they didn't do much of anything till Royal Quest, so they take breaks, which is nice. They're in the middle of their Destruction tour right now, which they're going to have. There are 3 Destruction shows, 15th, 16th, and I believe 22nd. And those are the big shows. And then King of Pro Wrestling is going to be their next big show after their Fighting Spirit Unleashed US tour. They're having in Boston, New York, and Philadelphia, I want to say. I'm not too sure. I know Boston and New York for sure. And I just watched, I was at the Super J Cup Night 1 in Tacoma a couple weeks ago, and that was an absolute goddamn blast. That was great. If you ever get a chance to see a U.S. New Japan show, please go. Make sure you can. Don't obviously exhaust your finances and make where you can't pay rent or anything, but go and watch it if you can. You will not regret it. New Japan is shown on delay on Access TV, and I totally love it. I think it's great whenever, people can't catch up on things. It's like they did the same day G1 Climax coverage for just the tournament matches, not the undercard matches, which is just as well. Admittedly, I almost just wanted to watch that instead and review that instead of reviewing the undercard matches. But I wanted to also watch the whole thing to see if I missed anything. New Japan being on Access is great for them because it exposes them to more of a U.S. audience at a more reasonable time, because they're a Japanese-based company, obviously. and they run their shows live on Japanese time, which is, of course, way ahead of my time, Pacific Coast time, or any U.S. time. Britain and others are a little bit better because they're closer, and also so the time zone isn't all that different. But that's neither here nor there. If you love it, you're going to wake up and you're going to watch it, and at times that's what I do. And I get geared up for the big shows. That, King of Pro Wrestling, Power Struggle, a few others, and Wrestle Kingdom, and the tournaments and stuff like that. So New Japan has a lot of good shit going, and I can get why some people don't like it, and that's fine. I don't want to make it seem like I'm telling you guys to watch New Japan. If you guys aren't interested, that's fine. Because I still do love WWE, I just wish they were a little less stale with their storylines. But now Impact is going to be on Access TV, which is a big deal because let's be honest, since leaving Spike TV, they've been almost in the goddamn toilet. They were on Destination America for a while, and the ratings just kept sliding down. Then they were on Pop TV, and the ratings for that network were fine, but they still weren't getting all that much money. And then they went to Pursuit, and they're on Twitch, and they're not really drawing all that many views. I'm not trying to knock Impact. There are certain people I don't like in the company. Josh Matthews. I don't really think Callis is all that good of a commentator, but I know he has fans. I'm not going to knock you guys. I don't like Elgin. I don't like Swan. I don't like Callahan. I don't like a few people on their roster, but that's neither here nor there. That's not knocking the company. The company is loaded with talent. Up-and-comers, some veterans, a great knockouts division, and a pretty good tag team division. I'm excited to see, as somebody that has been rooting for Impact to succeed for a while, that hopefully they can get their opportunity to get on a big platform and maybe get some good ratings. The thing is, though, and I say this much about Access TV, Access TV is not readily available in a ton of homes. It's readily available in a good amount of homes. I get it on my cable package, but not the ratings are not going to be what they were on Spike TV. The ratings may not even be what they were on Destination America, so everybody needs to calm down. That being said, since Anthem has a stake in Access TV now, majority stake or whatever, it's great to know that, Impact's going to get a second chance. Well, okay, this is more like their 10th chance, but you get my point. More wrestling companies mean that, more talents can go somewhere else, ply their trade, get over, and try something new somewhere else. They could go from, say, Ring of Honor, and Ring of Honor is like on syndicated TV and that kind of stuff, and I don't actually know what channels they're necessarily on. I mean, I know Sinclair Broadcasting owns them, and Sinclair Broadcasting, a whole bunch of goddamn weirdos that they are. There's rumors that Impact, that Anthem might buy Ring of Honor, which would be pretty interesting to see, but we'll see if that happens. Sticking with the whole thing about the network, so I'm excited for Impact, and I hope they succeed. Now, I probably won't be able to watch, just simply because I'm already paying too much attention to so much wrestling. This is a Wrestling Night Review. WWE weekly, including the pay-per-views. New Japan, as much as I can. AEW, I'm going to start reviewing that weekly. And I'm trying to review WoW Women of Wrestling. So I'm actually going to go to WoW, because WoW is on Access TV. Now they're on Saturdays. I don't know if I'm going to be able to continue to review Women of Wrestling, simply because the views are not necessarily there for the reviews to necessarily matter, but I'll probably continue to watch it, so we'll see. It's just totally going to depend on my schedule and how much time I can devote to reviewing as much wrestling as possible. But seeing an actual, all women's promotion on a national platform is a really, really good thing. As I said in my other WoW reviews, that is really, really good. So Access TV has quietly become a pretty good destination for a lot of wrestling programming. I mean, they got cage fighting and other stuff and stuff like that, and a lot of music documentaries. But think about it. They got New Japan, that's established there on Access TV. And then you got WoW, that's been established since earlier this year. Now you got Impact. That's a pretty, damn good thing, and those are three good alternatives to WWE. And that's what it's all about. WWE is always going to be the king of wrestling. It is. And I mean, that's not, as far as national, worldwide reach. That is not to say that the product in ring is necessarily going to be better, but now more options on cable TV and other streaming services is what it's all about. And that way the fans can pick and choose, watch one, watch multiple, and not feel that they're tied down to one promotion. Find what you like, find what you enjoy, and just fucking love it. That's really what you need to That's really what you need to just enjoy. Like, it's all about options in wrestling. It's all about, having options to watch shit. I mean, it's like, you got Power Slam TV, you got Independent Wrestling.tv. You got other options to watch stuff like that. I mean, yeah, there's Stardom, there's Shine, there's Shimmer. There's so many other promotions out there that you can enjoy. There's Fight TV. There's plenty of ways to watch as much wrestling as you want. Do not feel, however, that you have to be committed to just one brand. Don't let other fans tell you you have to be committed to one brand. You can watch more. You don't have to have an us versus them mentality. Defend your favorites. Do not get me wrong. Defend your favorites all you want, as you should. Because who wouldn't want to love, just watching their favorites in one promotion or another, or watching their, a bunch of their favorites in multiple promotions. You got to like what you like, and you got to have a whole lot of fun. I'm excited to see what's going to happen in October with all these options for wrestling. It's going to be very, very interesting. But also, to finish up on this, also make sure to support your local indies by going to, your independent promotions in your areas if you have any. Make sure to go. Make sure they're, of course, run by reputable people. Fortunately, the couple that I go to are run by really, really good people. Well, in particular, Without a Cause, I'm really, really happy that they're great. That they're a great promotion run by a great guy, Max. And just really, all I want to say here in closing is, guys, you can watch whatever the fuck you want to watch. That's the whole fun thing about wrestling. You don't need to just watch one thing. You don't need to just watch, it's tied down to one thing. If you want to watch just one thing, that's fine. That's what's great about wrestling. You can watch what you want to watch. Even if it's styles, even if it's people I don't necessarily care for, it doesn't matter. Because that's just my take. I'm not telling you guys how to feel on this stuff. I'm just giving you my opinion. So which one are you most excited for to see on TV? What are you going to try to watch all of these? Which ones are you most excited for? Are you excited to see Impact on Access TV? Do you think Impact can have a resurgence as far as its ratings? Do you think Access TV could possibly, bring Ring of Honor on and stuff like that, and we could have some more wrestling on there? What do you guys think of all this stuff? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.